Welcome to episode 3 of the demo and track feedback sessions. Your boy Demuir here, purveyor of all sounds underground. Thank you for joining me for episode 3. We have so many, so many submissions that I know I'm not going to be able to get to all of them. So, again, please be patient with me and us, folks on my team. We will get to it. We do the show every 2 weeks. So whatever I don't get to today, we'll carry over to the next episode. I like to limit this to at least 4 or 5 submissions, just so I'm giving ample feedback and a fair amount of time and just not spending a ridiculous amount of time just going through demos and tracks. Okay, so I think that's about it for that in terms of house cleaning items on these videos. The other thing is just a friendly reminder, you got about 1 month left if you want to participate in the remix contest to remix my track in a collab EP that I have coming with Phil Weeks, only on vinyl under my label Purveyor Underground Limited. So super stoked and excited for that. We have some other big announcements and things coming, so stay tuned. You can sign up to my Patreon to stay in touch with all of the news, and it's free. You don't immediately have to have a paid subscription to intake some of the benefits that are on the site. However, if you do want to enter the remix contest, you will need to get a minimum tier of our all access tier, which is easy to sign up for. And with that, you get a whole bunch of benefits like downloadable promos and tracks that are exclusive to Patreon, as well as my weekly production stream, where I'm putting together beats, arranging songs, mixing down songs, just showing you all my techniques. So, anyway, enough of that. Let's jump right in. I'll show you my screen. I'm going to veer off to the left here. Okay, so first up is from MF Mood. I guess that's a spin on MF Doom. That's creative, but all good. Here's his SoundCloud. If you want to check him out later on, it's cool. Thank you for submitting your track. Let's give this a quick listen, and I'll jump in with some feedback. Yeah. So I'm still surprised at the amount of deeper tracks that are being sent my way to critique on. I mean, I do make deep house, but I thought we'd be here just more funky Jackie stuff. To be honest, so far so good. I like this. I like the arrangement. I like how it's building. And that stab, I like that stab. Filtering going on. Bass is good. The sound of the bass is good. There's a note that's off in there. Oh, and the crash. Definitely needs to be gain staged or reviewed. It almost sounds like it's carrying the track. Let's see if it happens again. I like the drums too, it's nice. Ooh, key change. Keeping it interesting. Yeah, so that crash, it's definitely not gain staged, or it's just turned up too loud. It's probably got compression on it, I bet it has some compression on it. Let's forward a bit. Let's get right into how he takes us into this breakdown. Actually, let's go back a little bit. Okay, nice little filter ramp down. All right, looks like leading us back into the next drop. I like the expression on the pad. Sounds like cut off or right there. Yeah. I like that. There's another clap that comes in that makes it feel like it's more people. I love that shit. That's really good. It's every other one. You can hear it. More in the breakdown here. Really good work. There. Yeah, so my quick thoughts on this one. Nice, deep groove to this. The things that work well for me in this track are the good use and expression of the pad, the synths, and the filtering on those just kept the entire track very interesting for my ears, at least. I also thought the bass line was cool in terms of the sound of it, but in terms of a do different, definitely one of the bass notes are off somewhere in there, like I can hear it. Or it might be another element in there that I'm missing that's just throwing that particular note off. The other thing is just the general mix down. It does sound like there's a fair amount of compression on this. And I would say the best tracks are the ones that have the most dynamics. And the tracks that have the most dynamics are not compressed as heavily. So just something to think about. The crash is definitely something that either needs to be gain staged or the track level needs to be turned, the fader volume for that track needs to be turned down a bit. Also, just review the EQ on it. Maybe the highs in the crash are just way too high and it's like a tearing sound, and I can tell straight away that has some opportunity there to be adjusted. But overall, I like the track. We don't put out these types of tracks on Purveyor Underground. Unfortunately, it's just too deep for us, but I enjoyed it. It's nice. It's a good track. Just needs a little bit of work on the mix down and double check the bass notes. All right, so let's move on to MF Mood's second track. It's called Easy Does It. Oh, that's the name of the EP. Easy Does It House. Okay. It's just the EP title. So let's get back into my screen here and listen to this one. Let's go. Sounds a little lower. So you might need to turn this up on your end. Okay. Probably got like automation on it. Gonna mute my microphone. I just want to check the sub frequencies for a second. Okay. Let's advance a bit. See what happens in this breakdown here. Sure my mic is on. So similar to the first track, this seems to be a signature where filtering down the breakdown, and then just before the next drop, it's going to open up slowly, which is cool. I love the use of automation to create intensity. Song arrangement is definitely a strength with this cat. So far, so good. Okay, I get it. There's the classic sustained house string right in this area. It's cool. Okay, so my feedback is similar to the first cut. The arrangement is really good. I enjoy that. It keeps it interesting. Again, the use of automation on the filtering and the expression on the pads and synths is nailed up very well here. So very good job there. The couple of do difference, I think they might involve mix down stuff. Like there's a sound that comes in here. Just trying to find it. It's like a bass sort of filtered like bass chord, and it almost sounds like it has a delay on it. It sounds a little loud and imbalanced against all of the other instruments. So I'm not sure what it is. And you, like I said earlier, I said I was going to turn up my volume on my side. And the reason why I did that, because I felt, I'll do it again. Yeah, I feel like the sub components and kick are a little light. So this is more mix down related stuff in terms of balance and making sure all the sounds are balanced out nice and evenly across the frequency spectrum. So it's a little light on the sub for the kick. And I think that sort of filtered bass stab, whatever that sound is a little loud. And if it does have a delay on it, I would take it off and just sidechain it if you want sort of that pumpy sound. And at the same time, you'll minimalize low end and mid low collisions by doing that. I like the drums too. But again, I can hear certain things in the mix down where you could probably carve out and get a gain of at least 1 to 2 dB in headroom by just making sure all the tracks are gain staged appropriately and have removed any unnecessary low frequencies or other frequencies that just don't need to be there in that sound, that are better served for other specific tracks. So those are my thoughts on those two. Nice, deep ideas, creative ideas. Just needs a little bit of work, and that would push it over the edge for me. It's too bad we don't put out deep house necessarily, but that's my feedback. Okay, let's move on to the next. So, this is what we just reviewed. We had like 3 different names there, so my bad. So that was by Massimo. I could see an email here, and I think the tracks were MF Mood and Easy Does It House EP. So there you go with those. Let's move along. Next one is Mad Flavor. So let's load this up, see what we got. Let me just double check. Yeah, it looks like we only got 1 cut here, which is fine. So let's check this out. Get on my screen. Mad Flavor is the cut by Matt Martigan. Let's check it out. Ooh, is it funky? Finally, some funky shit, disco shit. Yes. Yeah. This guy sounds like he knows what he's doing with arrangement. Interesting. let's advance a bit. Okay, it's filtered down there. Very percussive. Wow, that's a nice little change up. Let's see how he got into that. Okay, cool. This is a nice contrast here. And it was signaled by the crash cymbal. It's good. Right in the middle of the track almost. All right. I think the idea is cool on this one. It's like Latin disco sort of vibes. The stereo information from the percussion, and you can tell there's a lot of emphasis on that, which is good, but I did think that it was a little loud with the conga stuff, and that's probably because it wasn't necessarily checked that mono is just left in stereo, and that's fine if you want to mix down in stereo, but like as I listen to it on these monitors, like the pan information, like this is what they would indeed call the sides at this point. I would EQ for that. It was much stronger on the left side, and it's cool. Like that's how older records were made. But when you're mixing that with modern sounds and ideas, you still need to find a balance. And when certain sounds are poking out more than others, I just think they should be addressed. So that's my feedback on just the handling of the percussive samples. I like these little quirky sound choices. There's a conga. The drums are great. The other thing I would say is, and I encourage a lot of like new and established producers to do this. Make sure you have a sub. You can't mix what you can't hear. And this track, it feels light on the sub frequencies. Like the kick, it's there, but it's not. It doesn't have a well-rounded bottom where it's like I can feel it. Like just a boom, boom, bang, right? And that stuff is important for our style of music. The kick is the most important thing. And how it translates in those sub frequencies are super important. So that's another part of my feedback from a mixdown perspective. I'd say it needs work on this track. But the arrangement, I love the Latin disco vibe, the quirky sound choices as well to keep things interesting is cool. Yeah, so I mean, I don't speak Spanish, but the vocal, I don't know what he's saying, but it sounds cool to me. But what I will say in terms of vocal selections, and you probably also heard it in the previous track, they weren't really audible in the sense of like it's saying something that a listener can connect to, and I think that's important for people to distinguish themselves. I'm not saying it's a must-have. I'm just saying, when you're looking to put tracks out and have them released, as a DJ, what I go for is something that I can play, that I connect with, and is audible and understandable to my ears, that I can translate in my set for others to connect with as well. So when you have like just, what sounds potentially to be like these drag and drop moments off of a sample pack, and I'm not saying that's what the two tracks are, like the previous artist and this one. I'm just saying in general, it's a watch out and something to consider. So that's my feedback overall on this one. So let's just move on and see what we got next. All right, so that was Mad Flavor from the homie Matt. All right. Next one. Let's open this up. See if this works. I hate it when this happens, man. That's too bad. So we tried to listen to Welljam here. It didn't work. So it's unfortunate. You guys got to double check your links, man. Not to put anybody on blast, but this is a missed opportunity. So let's move on. Oh, my bad. I see there's another link here. So maybe the track is here. Yes. There we go. All right. So this track is called D'Angelo's Soul by Welljam. So let's check it out. I like that bass line. Here, let's advance.
To me, the essence of real funk is not about all that bells and whistles and all that. It's really about black rock and roll.
What did he say?
Black rock and roll.
Black.
Black rock and roll. Black rock and roll.
I like that fill. And I like this breakdown. So
it's not about all that. It's not about all that bells and whistles and all that. It's really about
nice filter on the
black rock and roll.
909 hat. Ooh, little sax.
To me, the essence
Okay, so I mean, the things that I love about this track, first and foremost, that bass line, when that kicked in, it really elevated the track. Like, listen here. And I love how the bass line was teased. Should be coming soon. Yeah. So that's the strength right there. The arrangement, the drum fill was cool too. I like how the drums are EQ'd on this. Like I said, versus the previous track, and again, it's not to, knock the previous track. It's just to point out the difference with that subby kick. When it's there and present, you feel it. It completely changes the energy of the room and of the track when it's present. Like, you can feel it, and the kick was there on this one. The other pieces that I like were just some of the creative vocal chop stuff, but at the same time, I wasn't quite understanding what the point was. Like, I see you watching, and then there's this stuff.
bells and whistles and all that. It's not
So, when you have these types of like, I'm just trying to understand or make a connection to the song, and it just goes back to what I was saying before. Like, I think the best songs, when they have vocals in there, are able to connect to people with an understanding, as well as something that's a bit hooky, right? So here, the vocals sounded pretty cool, but I wasn't sure of the connection between the two. So that's just some feedback on that one. The other thing is if I would recommend one big thing to change, I would get rid of those chords. Those those chords, like we hear that in almost every house track, like these like major seven chords, and they're cool, but the difficulty is that we just hear them too much, or at least I've heard them too much. And I think the tracks that stand out, because remember, we have complete and utter saturation going on with these tracks, pardon the cat, where everybody's releasing music. And when you have all these chords going, hey, chill out, chill out. When you have similar chords across multiple tracks, it just takes away from the opportunity to distinguish yourself. So that would be the one thing I'd remove. I think the bass line rocks on its own, and you can even use one of the chords as a stab and just have it come in and out momentarily. So anyway, just my thoughts on that. I like the idea. I like the swing in the beat. I like the arrangement. I like the drums, and I love how they were EQ'd. Just a couple of those things with respects to the vocals, and consider removing the chords that we had in there. All right, so let's see what we got next. See, this is a culprit here, man. She just got up from a nap. Let's load up the next track. So that was Welljam, the last one we listened to. The track was called D'Angelo Soul. Okay. Ooh, I see. Hold on. Am I reading this correctly? Disco House Demo. So, let's get into this. And that last track was a bit funkier too, man. It had some pretty good swing. So this one is from Notorius Lynch. I've seen this name around. I love it, man. I love it. The community vibes. So let's check this out. That's a good BPM. 126, my favorite BPM, baby. You know how we do. I love it. Nice. Okay. Nice build. I like that. Filter breakdown, riser build up, and then the drop. That's cool. You can anticipate. Yeah, I mean, cool cut. The arrangement obviously was strong in my opinion, and this is a relief. Like a lot of people don't make DJ friendly arrangements, so it was nice to have that. The sound choices were cool. I love the sample and the disco string sort of vibe and the filtering that's gone on with that. The other thing that was good was the addition of the piano and the filtering of that up and down to keep it, to keep the attention of my ears. The one thing I will say is the bass. Although it was, let me just listen to that again. Like it doesn't sound like a pure E-bass plugin like Scarvy or whatever. It sounds like a bass note was sampled and then transposed across to bring it into key as best as possible. And then it also sounds quite filtered. So I think that needs to be touched up a bit in terms of the quality of the sound. And it's also quite loud versus the other elements in the track. I mean, it's not huge. We're talking maybe 1 to 2.5 dB maybe of a reduction that's probably needed there. But aside from that, I enjoyed the track. It was cool. You know, nice little disco cut. Just some minor things to be worked on. That's cool with the vocal too. I like that. Yeah. So dope cut. Lots of good potential with that one. The only thing I would add is it does sound like it needs some sort of movement or a beat break in there. And when I say beat breaks, I'm talking like top loops or a drum break from a disco record or a shaker, tambourine, just something to glue the drums all together and have it feel like there's movement there. It sounds, to my ears at least, sounds like there's a little bit of space there. But that would be my only feedback. So nice work, Notorious. Keep them coming. Looking forward to hearing more from you. All right, let's check out the next cut. Yo, I'm recording here. Yo, I told you. You know I'm recording. Bless you, you just sneezed, huh? We can't see you on camera. Listen, girl, I'm recording right now. So you keep it up. I'm going to have to exit you from the studio. All right, so give me a bit. All right, so that was Notorious Lynch. What do we got here? All right. I think we should be able to get to 5. We're moving along nicely. Okay, so the next cut is from Fergus. Is this gonna be some jacking? Ooh, it's called Bitch Tax. I'm almost afraid to push us through. It looks, I can tell this is gonna be loud. Just look at that wave. Or just look at the sound file. It's got a limit. It looks like it has a limiter on it. When you see it squared off like that, you know. So let's listen. Yeah. So there's a bit of distortion already. I can tell right off the bat. I mean, that beat break on a 1-3, interesting so far. Let's see where it goes. That's cool, man. I think I would have selected the one a little different.
Yeah, you wish.
Let's see what happens.
I'm a bitch. I'm a bitch.
Yeah, that vocal's dope.
Bitch.
Yeah.
I'm a bitch.
Oh shit. There's potential. Yeah. Okay. sound.
Unicorn. I'm a bitch, bitch. It's my birthday every day. Less you ball like me, I'm guessing you cannot relate. My swagginess was not acquired, it's how I was born. Sometimes I look in the mirror. Bitch. I'm a bitch, bitch. I'm a bitch. Yeah, you wish. You could take risks and be like this.
Okay. All right. This is a great idea. It could work if the intention is jacking house here. It's very close. It needs a couple of tweaks, but this is fun. The vocal choice, this is what I mean when I was saying versus the other tracks we just reviewed. This vocal connects. It's hooky. You can jump right into it. It's got an attitude. Somebody can immediately connect with that. So great choice on the vocal. The arrangement respects the DJ friendly timing. However, the one opportunity I would say everything's going fine here. That loop, I would find another beat break entirely. That loop makes it, let me show you my screen here. It makes it a little, yeah. So listen to this versus this. Like, you're right into a groove. When this loop comes in, dun, 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 like it's just, to me, it feels like it confuses the timing a bit. It almost, like, I think I said earlier, like, oh, okay, it's like a 1-3 thing. Let's see what happens. And I don't think that was Ferg's intention, but Fergs, you could let us know. It sounds interesting, but from a timing perspective, it sounds like it's colliding with stuff. So I would highly recommend removing that. Find a good top loop that emphasizes the 2 and 4 and lines up with because the bass line is dope. It's like dun, 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 dun. Now, where this could work, and what's her name? Colette is doing this a lot. It's like it's like a clap on every part of the beat. And that's cool for techno and stuff, and it could also work for fills and stuff, but when it's like, nah. Find another loop for that. But the vocal's fucking dope. The other thing, just from a mix down perspective, and maybe you just bounced it out this way to make sure it was loud enough, is the limiter. Like the low to mid low. Well, I'm gonna say the mid lows sound a little muddy or stuffy. So some stuff could be cleared out there to make sure some things pop EQ wise. And you don't need the limiter necessarily if you are using one here because it just distorts it unnecessarily. I would just clear out the frequencies where there's a lot of collisions, typically in the low to mid low, and that way other sounds could breathe nicely. So I'll leave it at that. I hope you take me up on my offer, because I know I would see us putting this track out with just the right reset on the drums. And I think once you find the right top loop, you'll see, oh, you can throw some additional snare programming in there for it to work well. But it's dope. I like it. I think that vocal is killer. So nice one. Let's move into the next track. You gave us 2. This is called Derek May. Ooh. That almost sounds like it. I mean, maybe this is intentional. It sounds very distorted.
Alone. But in the process, they've been the true renegades.
Okay, so that's Derek's voice.
It's sad. In the 20s,
Yeah, I this track here, I think, yeah, there's something going on with that drum loop. Give me a second. The cat needs to go out. Come here. Yeah, you need to chill out. Um, it just sounds very distorted, and it's actually distracting at this point, right? Sounds like it's just a drum loop.
Because we're not entertaining bouffon idiots. We have to go someplace.
Yeah, but I'd highly just recommend revisiting either the EQ or whatever compressor or limiter is pushing it that hard. It's just distracting, and the track unfortunately is not breathing enough and giving enough space because it's so distorted to hear the vocal clearly. So I would say the first track is much stronger sonically than this one as a result. Leave my feedback there. It needs a bit of work. Okay, I'm gonna squeeze one more in because we're on a nice roll. But Fergus, thank you for those. Like I said, I think that first cut, that bitch track, lots of good opportunity. Okay, just checking the inbox here. All right, what do we got here? Nebjuku The Architect. All right, let's check this out. So we're looking at a deep house vibe here.
Music, deep underground sweet house music, deep underground sweet house, deep underground sweet house music, deep underground
going through
sweet
the whole
house
thing.
music, deep underground sweet house 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 music,
Slow
deep
burn.
underground sweet house music, deep underground music.
Yeah, so I would say this is a track I think needs to be revisited completely. And I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way at all. I hope it's not interpreted that way. It's just that there's a few things that, like, if I were a DJ listening to this and I wanted to play it in a club, it feels more like a track I would put on a playlist and listen to on my own, like just sort of chill type of deep house vibe. I think the vocal goes on way too long in the beginning.
Deep underground sweet house music.
So the intro
Deep underground sweet house music
is a minute and about 40
deep
seconds, I think,
sweet
before the
house
drop.
Music. Deep underground sweet house music.
And this.
Deep underground sweet house music.
So, as interesting as the vocal is, it's also a bit loud too. The vocal, it's just going on way too long for it to be interesting anymore, and it starts to become monotonous, right? So.
Music. deep underground.
and it's still
sweet
going
house
through here
music.
as the good elements of like the keys and the bass, which are well balanced and are played beautifully, and the drums come in, that vocal just goes on way too long. So I would reconsider the arrangement of that. And you also need to think of it from a DJ's perspective, like mixing something like that in, you know, it probably wouldn't translate very well unless you start off the night with that track or just do a hard cut. It's possible, but I would say it's better to revisit it entirely.
Deep underground
Yeah, and wow, that other vocal just comes out of nowhere.
house music.
What is that?
Deep underground sweet house music. Deep underground sweet house music.
And as sweet as house music. As
Yeah, so there, like I said earlier, there's components in the mix of the vocal that just sounds much louder than everything else, and as a result, it feels like it's just poking out and feels a bit dramatic versus the other elements and things that are going on in the track. So that would be my thought, is to revisit the arrangement, and just consider the balance of the mix. It sounds like there's some things that could be done a bit different there. So those are my thoughts on that one. You know what? Let's do one more. That was Deep Underground Sweet House Music, DMX and GWM. All right. Let's see who else we got. All right. Last but not least is Philippe, who I know is a community member. So let me check out these tracks. Because, yeah. Hers, yo. No Sabova. I like the drums so far. Nice and DJ friendly. Let's forward a bit. Yeah. Yes. Nice one. Yes. Oh, piano. Okay, I like this one. I like it. I think it sounds like it's a drum loop that's being used in there, but I like what it's doing in the track. Everything sounds in key. I love the build of the sample, like starting with the Rhodes, then the bass line coming in, and then there's the overlay of the piano element in there, and then there's that vocal scat that goes on too. So great idea, good track. I love it. I do think just sonically we should beef up the drum loops, like the low end is, it just sounds like the kick could use a little bit more attack. And that's nothing but a, maybe a 2 dB, 2 to 3 dB bump around 60 to 65 hertz. That I would recommend just starting with and seeing where it takes you. If it's a loop, if it's not a loop, then yeah, go right into the kick. Make sure it's distorted a little bit for extra harmonics. Throw a Pultec on it, boost, the dB on it, and you should see a bit more, oomph and attack to that. It just felt like it was missing there. Let me just check the bass line. Yeah, the bass line can come up a bit. Because the chords, the keys are good. With the kick and the bass seem to have some room to come up a bit. And the drums, like I said, if it's a drum loop, do consider just doing that little bump on the lower end. But great track. Nice danceable sort of summertime track. Yeah, I'm feeling that. It's nice. I like that. That's good work. It's a good start. I think just some small improvements sonically will raise the roof on that. I think let me just check. Yeah, we got a bunch more submissions. And as I said, I wanted to allow for adequate feedback for the tracks that were submitted so far. So we'll carry those over to the next show, which will be in 2 weeks. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this one, minus the cat meowing and distracting us. But I hope you enjoyed this one. And again, thank you, everyone, for submitting your art and sharing it with us and just allowing for me to give some feedback. So I hope there are some pieces that were helpful in my feedback that you can apply. And I'm looking forward to future episodes. Much love and respect. Peace.